Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 1st, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see here. Hopefully, you're doing well as well, of course. But how was my day? What did I do since I left you? Not much. I kind of went into recovery mode. I ordered some food, which we'll get into in a second. Um, took a shower, just tried to relax, and pretty much conked out for like most of the night. So I'm feeling better today, though. I'm still already getting sleepy again. But I did do groceries today. Today felt way more normal. In terms of the mouse watch, no sightings as of today so far. But who knows? Maybe you might hear a squeak or so, or who knows? Maybe you might just take over the podcast. It might be like a Ratatouille situation. Maybe that might make it better. But yeah, overall, I feel better. I knew I was freaking out and being irrational. It's just a mouse. It's not a big deal. But sometimes things just hit you at the worst time, and then you just get taken away, very far away. But yeah, here we are. We're more grounded today. I feel good. Let's see. Food corner though, like I said, we went to Domino's. Decided to make the pizza day on a Saturday yesterday. So what did we get? I got a pepperoni and pineapple pizza. It was with a barbecue base. And then I got a salami and jalapeno pizza with feta on it. So that was good. That was interesting. And then just had a normal marinara sauce, both hand tossed. Both very good, both very yummy. So I enjoyed that. Let's see here. Is there anything else in the personal news zone really wanted to talk about? No, feel good. Feel good to go ahead and do our startup and get. Wait. Let me put the brakes on. I want to do my shout outs. Shout out to Stephanie Renee and Edward Haas, my newsies. I salute you. And there's others as well. But, just thanks so much for your contributions and your support. It really means a lot. I really can't stress that enough. So here's to you. Let's go ahead and do our startup and we'll get into the news. Also, if you're hearing any like ambient music, I'm sorry. Sometimes people just gotta jam and relax. I get it. It's Labor Day weekend, so and I live in an apartment. What can I do? Okay. From the BBC. UN agencies to start rollout of Gaza polio vaccines. UN agencies and local health officials in the Gaza Strip are launching an ambitious campaign to vaccinate 640,000 children against polio. The rollout relies on a series of localized pauses in fighting between Israeli forces and Hamas fighters, with the first window set to begin on Sunday. To be effective, the World Health Organization, or WHO, says at least 90% of children under 10 must be immunized. That's the way to say it. I'm sorry. In a short time. It follows the discovery of the first confirmed case of polio in 25 years in Gaza, with a UN expert saying more children are likely to be infected and that there could be a wider regional outbreak if the virus is not dealt with. Let's see. Let's scroll ahead further. They also go on to talk about like the part of the reason why the polio virus kind of started spreading more is in part of the rollout. It's a two-stage thing. There's an oral vaccine that you take, and then 4 weeks later, you're supposed to take another vaccine. So I'm curious if we're not going to have a ceasefire yet, or in that time frame, if they're going to do another one of these humanitarian pauses for that, because that's part of the reason, or at least it's suspected that's part of the reason why the polio kind of came back, is that It had ample breeding ground because of all the chaos and destruction. There's just no way to tend to any of the sewers, anything like that. So naturally, it just becomes ample breeding ground for viruses and things of that nature. So that on top of the polio virus, like it's a weakened virus that gets put in with the first oral dose, it had time to actually grow and evolve and become a problem. And then I think there was a reported case of a baby who lost the ability to like crawl, walk, is partially paralyzed. And of course, the family, they just couldn't do anything with the situation at hand. They were only able to, survive, and that's all you could do. And now you're in the situation where you need even more care, and it's even harder to get just the basic things. But yeah, let's see. Was there anything else I really wanted to pull from this? I think it's more or less what I just said, but I'll say it from the highlighted portion. There you go. Each child must receive 2 drops of an oral polio vaccine in 2 rounds, the second to be administered 4 weeks after the first. It is essential that the program is carried out to prevent the mutation of the virus and break transmission. So we'll go ahead and leave it there. But we are still sticking in the, in the region, of course. From CBS News, Israeli-American Hirsch Goldberg Pullen among 6 hostages found dead in Gaza. President Biden and the Israeli military announced late Saturday that the bodies of 6 Hamas-held hostages were recovered by Israeli forces in a tunnel under the Gaza city of Rafah, including that of Israeli-American Hirsch Goldberg Pullen. I am devastated and outraged, Mr. Biden said. Hirsch was among the innocents brutally attacked while attending a music festival for peace in Israel on October 7th. He lost his arm helping friends and strangers during Hamas's savage massacre. He literally, his arm got blown off, throwing back a grenade during the whole fucking thing. It was, recorded. And then he winds up, getting abducted. Israel Defense Forces, or the IDF, in a statement identified the other recovered hostages as Carmel Gat, Eden Yerushalmi, Alexander Labanov, Almog Sarusi, and Master Sergeant Ori Denino. The military said all 6 had been killed shortly before the arrival of Israeli forces. Let's see here. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu said Israel would hold Hamas accountable for killing the hostages in cold blood and blamed the militant group for stalled negotiations, saying whoever murders hostages doesn't want a deal. Now, I kind of get really worried in these situations because I think that the sentiment is really going to change and that people are going to stop talking about a ceasefire and just saying, you know what, just do it. Just fucking mow down people. We don't care. Just get them back that way. Don't negotiate it anymore. But it does seem that people are continuing to double down and say, no, bring, our hostages home. The way you are trying to prosecute this war is not doing it. It's only leading to more death of the people that we want to have back home. Let's see here. Even up to the point of, I believe on Sunday, a general worker strike being called. So, I think that that's the right way to apply pressure here. I think doing this by military means is only going to get you a fraction of what you want, whereas these things could have been avoided. These deaths could have been avoided with just a simple ceasefire instead of trying to make this more and more complicated to just stall it out, belabor the point. So that you can once again just prosecute this war the way you want, so that Netanyahu doesn't have to fucking face any of his fucking crimes, so that the ultra fucking conservatives can get what they want. No, dude, you want to bring your people home, that's the way to do it, and that's why it's very frustrating to see the Israeli government not do that. But just wanted to bring this story. Actually, the family of Hirsch Goldberg Pullen had talked at the DNC recently. So, and they've also just been very involved in just publicly, advocating to get their son home and other hostages home. So, it's another reason why this is definitely making a lot of headlines. So yeah, it's obviously very unfortunate. My condolences to the families. You know, it's just very unfortunate, all this loss of life for sure, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next beat. Let's talk some more politics. From NBC News, Trump says he wants to make IVF treatments paid for by government or insurance companies if elected. So yeah, I mean everyone's switching and swapping. I know we've covered Kamala Harris, and a lot of the interviews seem to be like edged, and a lot of the takeaway I feel like from the media and a lot of pundits or whatever is a takeaway of, you know, she did a lot of vague statements, a lot of dancing and moving, and not really saying exactly what people wanted to hear in terms of her policies or what she feels. But it was an interview, right? And it definitely seems that that's kind of the general takeaway, which, I more or less said about the same thing, I feel. So I don't feel too weird there. I feel like I'm in good company with that. But yeah, it seems like Donald Trump is doing the same fucking thing. I mean, which he has been doing. He's a populist type president. It's not like he's a type of person who's going to stand and be firm here. He wants to get your vote, fucking period, which is the average politician. It's not strange and it's not weird, but it's just funny how, like, when Trump does it, it's not seen as being phony or fake. It's seen as being just authentic. It's strange to me. It's like, no. You don't get to do that anymore. You are Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, Mr. What, 45? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're a politician. You're not Mr. Apprentice to me anymore. Like, but whatever. Former President Donald Trump said in an interview with NBC News on Thursday that if he is elected, his administration would not only protect access to in vitro fertilization, but would also have either the government or insurance companies cover the cost if the expensive service for American women, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Insurance companies cover the cost of the expensive service for American women who need it. Who are going to be under the Trump administration, or we are going to be under the Trump administration, we are going to be paying for that treatment, Trump said before adding, we're going to be mandating that the insurance company pay. Asked to clarify whether the government would pay for IVF services or whether insurance companies would do so, Trump reiterated that one option would be to have insurance companies pay under a mandate. Yes. Abortion and IVF have been political liabilities for the GOP this year. Democrats have blasted Republicans over IVF in recent months, saying GOP-led restrictions on abortion could lead to restrictions on IVF as well. Some of the stories we've covered before, these have definitely kind of blown back on Trump, who has touted yes, I put the Supreme Court's in power that struck down Roe v. Wade. I more or less did that. You can thank me for that. But now that looks really fucking bad. He kind of flops back to being like, yeah, I think that this should be left up to the states. I, for one, kind of think, hey, actually remember back when I was kind of fighting for 20 weeks or whatever. I think that's a little bit better. I think that's more, sensible. But that's what I think. And you just start seeing him kind of sculpt this more further away take on abortion and IVF than what the party kind of wants, especially what the ultra full-on anti-abortion fraction of his party wants. But I do think he can kind of do this because overall I think that the people who are on the extreme side in his party over this issue kind of know that they can rattle the cage and make moves when they want to, when they feel like they're not getting their way. And overall, the party will be like, okay, yeah, that's fine, all right. And for Trump, he's just doing this to just get votes. So it really doesn't matter whether or not he's going to deliver on this shit or not. And you can say the same thing with Harris, of course, Before this, Trump said, hey, they say I'm only thinking about the wealthy and how I'm worrying about taxing. You know what? Let's cancel taxing on tips, which is it's just free chum. That's not anything really that good. Don't get me wrong. I think you shouldn't get taxed on tips. I think it's annoying and weird. And I know that people are like, oh, it's not fair. It's like, dude, you're literally getting a lesser wage than everyone else when you're in the tip economy. And it's like, well, now you're getting tipped for coffee and you can get tipped at the who gives a shit, man? Just tip people. And if you don't and you want to be an asshole, then I guess fine. That's your fucking right. But at the end of the day, this is just a political football that's being used by both parties. And for Trump to kind of say this IVF thing, maybe it works and maybe it gets suburban moms back into his camp that he's looking to get. But I mean, I kind of think that most likely people are going to see through this as kind of hollow, but who knows? We'll see. I felt like it was something that was relevant to cover. Also, I know he went to Florida and talked about legalizing weed in Florida, which, I mean, hey, I mean, that's cool. Now that Ohio has it, I definitely want to keep seeing other places have it, because I wouldn't have really expected some place that was like once a former swing state but has always been pretty conservative to finally roll over on marijuana. So I would love to see that anywhere and everywhere. So yeah, hell yeah, if that happens either way. Not that I'm like, oh, well, now I'm voting for Trump. No, but it's good to see that kind of policy talk on both sides of the fence is really what I'm getting at there. Even if it is hollow and kind of like, yeah, I'm just trying to pander. Because Biden did this shit too when he was running. So it just is what it is there. But yeah, I felt it was a relevant kind of interview moment in terms of NBC. I'm sorry, I'm getting them jarbled. But yeah, let's go ahead and go on to our last beat, our last story for the day. Let's go ahead and do our last break, and we'll go ahead and cover it. Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the mic. I'm sorry. Hopefully I didn't scare you. All right, this is a bit of local news. WLWT5 officials. Escaped inmate back in custody. An inmate who escaped custody Saturday night has been placed back in custody, according to officials with the River City Correctional Facility. Authorities say Adam Cadet, an inmate at River City Correctional, left a transport vehicle while returning to RCC from UC Medical Center. RCC staff say they immediately notified Cincinnati police, who were able to place Cadet back into custody and return him to RCC Saturday night. So there you go. There's that. Yeah, there's really nothing else really there. They kind of go back to reiterate that. But yeah, nice and little simple story. I kind of wish there was a little bit more details, but maybe it is just that simple. But good that he wasn't on the loose for a long time or anything like that. But there you go. I can't help it. I love a good prison break. Not that this was like actually a prison break. He just kind of fled in between transit. But I'll take what I can get here. But yeah, that's it. That's the episode. I'm not going to shill or do anything extra today. No need. Hopefully you enjoy your Labor Day weekend. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow, but yeah, hopefully you enjoy yourself and have a good time. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.